Vladimir Putin's aggressive policies and his goal of expanding Russia's borders and rebuilding its former Soviet glory have inflicted deep wounds on Ukraine in recent years. But the impact of these policies in Ukraine has become not only a geopolitical issue, but also a battle of individual tragedies, resistance, and technology. Modern war is won not only with tanks and soldiers, but with strategy, technology, and perseverance. Today we will tell you the story of brave Ukrainian troops like the Magyar birds, the game-changing power of drones, and unforgettable moments on the battlefield. What powerful defense successes were recorded in the Donetsk region this month? Let's watch. Ukraine's unmanned aerial forces, the Magyar birds, play a critical role in wearing down enemy lines and gaining the upper hand on the battlefield. In the last 5 months, these forces have neutralized more than 300 enemy artillery guns. Targeting artillery is an effective strategy to weaken enemy logistics and attack power. Drone strikes, especially targeting barrels, render these weapons unusable. After such damage, it becomes impossible to repair the cannon, and any attempt to fire it causes it to explode. When a reconnaissance drone spotted a strategic Russian artillery position, they took action. Confirming the complete destruction of the target, the footage also showed 2 Russian soldiers witnessing the explosion. In the first strike, the artillery gun was targeted and neutralized. Meanwhile, the Russians were transporting a large artillery piece on a truck. The truck was loaded with ammunition and shells. The Russians planned to place this cannon at an ambush point. Ukraine's sharp-eyed drone operators spotted this move. But the Russian soldiers have not yet understood this. A kamikaze drone was quickly directed towards this target. When the Russians realized the sound of the approaching drone, they tried to respond with rifles. From time to time, they managed to hit it, but this time they had no luck. The drone hit the cannon and the truck. With the target hit, the cannon was completely destroyed, while the ammunition in the truck exploded, causing a huge fire. This thwarted the enemy's long-term deployment plans. This was followed by another dramatic development in the so-called Death Road. Russian tanks were targeted by Ukrainian Thermite drones. Thermite drones are equipped with special technology designed to melt tank armor. Their ignition temperature ranges from 2300 to 2700 degrees Celsius. This makes even the thickest armor helpless. Within seconds of the drone landing on the tank, the armor began to penetrate. Within minutes, the tank was rendered unusable, and the footage recorded by the drone showed the impact of this devastating attack. A well-camouflaged Russian tank was targeted by Ukrainian drone pilots during another operation. Despite the signal confusion caused by electronic warfare systems, the pilots managed to reach the target. After the first hit, another drone was launched to check the impact of the attack. This drone confirmed that the tank had been completely neutralized. In modern warfare, accuracy and efficiency are as important as making sure the enemy is completely disabled. Night bombardment drones, called Night Doctor, are one of Ukraine's most effective weapons. These drones target and neutralize enemy tanks and vehicles during the night. The destruction of many tanks in one night proved Ukraine's superiority in this field once again. The damage caused by these drones can only be seen by the Russians in daylight. 2 Russian armored personnel carriers carrying infantry are spotted moving rapidly towards Ukrainian positions. Stopping this attack becomes an urgent priority. The Ukrainian drone operator locks onto the target and moves in to neutralize the carriers. This moment is clearly visible from another Allied reconnaissance drone, giving a clearer picture of the situation. The operator precisely executes his first strike and stops the movement of the carriers. At this point, a second kamikaze drone is activated and delivers a direct hit on the target. After the explosion, the carriers are heavily damaged and rendered inoperable. Following the attack, an advanced bomber drone known as the Night Doctor is activated. Controlled by the Magyar Birds unit, this drone drops a bomb on the armored carrier to deliver the decisive blow. The explosion completely destroys the carrier, and it is no longer a threat on the battlefield. At another point, 2 Russian vehicles, a buggy and a banka, were trying to pass through the area known as the Road of Death, where armored vehicles had been previously destroyed. The Russian plan to reach a landing point with these vehicles was disrupted by a Ukrainian kamikaze drone. Despite the signal confusion caused by electronic warfare systems, the drone operator managed to successfully hit his target. The first attack was not enough to completely neutralize the vehicle. The drone operator conducted a second sortie, professionally destroying both the buggy and the banka. In another incident, an infantry fighting vehicle was stopped during an attack. The Russian armored vehicle enters a road carefully mined in advance by the Ukrainians, followed by a massive explosion. With the explosion, the movement of the Russian vehicles comes to a complete halt, and other mines are triggered in a chain reaction. As a result of this effective planning, a Russian armored personnel carrier, a Rakushka, was directly targeted and hit, and an infantry fighting vehicle on the same route was completely destroyed. Immediately after this attack, the Russian infantry tried to break through the defensive line again, but were subjected to intense shelling as Ukrainian artillery responded quickly. Ukrainian artillery uses high-precision ammunition to neutralize the armored personnel carriers, forcing the soldiers inside to disembark and move out into the open. Russian infantrymen are heading towards a wooded area littered with destroyed equipment in search of a place to hide in the area where heavy fighting is ongoing. The invaders try to hide under the wreckage of previously destroyed armored personnel carriers and tanks. They are unaware that their movements are being tracked by advanced Ukrainian reconnaissance drones. The artillery launches a heavy bombardment, targeting the area where the enemy infantry is concentrated. The Russians think they can escape the drones by hiding in pits and deep in debris. Prepared for this, Ukrainian bombers and kamikaze drones carefully scan the forest belt and neutralize all hiding enemy elements. Meanwhile, a larger Russian offensive is taking place in the village of Yasna Polyana in the Donetsk region. Russian infantry waiting in a forest strip are picked up by 2 armored personnel carriers and moved to advance on Ukrainian positions. However, before the attack begins, anti-tank mines previously planted by Ukrainian forces are activated. Both armored personnel carriers hit the mines and were disabled, and the soldiers inside suffered heavy casualties after the explosions. This preventive measure, one of the Ukrainian army's effective defense strategies, completely halted the Russian offensive. The use of anti-tank mines not only destroys armored vehicles, but also makes enemy infantry an open target, giving Ukrainian forces a huge tactical advantage. Putin's repressive policies and militaristic ideals are receding in the face of courage, solidarity, and rational strategies on the ground. Every destroyed cannon, every destroyed tank, and every defended village shows that Ukraine is step by step getting closer to freedom once again. But this story is not yet complete. This struggle will continue, and the world will continue to talk about Ukraine's determination to resist. Stay tuned for more, because this story is not only Ukraine's story, but the story of all those who fight for freedom.